36? 36? 36? good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this 10th annual Riley Mercer Memorial Toy Drive. Already, as you can see, the gifts have been pouring in. Louise and Bernie have been shopping, and we're off to a good start in this toy drive. I'm glad you're here this afternoon. Thanks for coming out, and there's nothing really that pulls the community together any more than this. And we're so thankful for everybody that always contributes and is always a part of this particular event every year. It's like to make a special welcome to the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador. Good to have you with us today. Our federal, provincial, and municipal leaders, always welcome. We thank you for coming and showing your support. And for all of you and our viewers online, thank you for tuning in and being a part of this event today. I believe we're in for an exciting time. Somebody is festive tonight, and we're thankful for the band. In the back, there's a Montreal Canadiens Santa hat. I don't know how he got in. I don't know. But he can be removed. Would you stand and let's sing Joy to the World. The Lord is come, let earth receive her King. We want you to relax this afternoon and just enjoy this time together. We're thankful for Louise and Bernie and all the work and time and effort they put into such an event to keep the memory of Alex and Riley very much alive in the hearts of Mom and Dad and in the hearts of this wonderful community who always contributes and supports in such a wonderful way. Let's sing this carol together. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Receive the King, let every room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let their songs enjoy on hills and floods, rocks, hills and plains. Repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. No sins and sorrows go. Far as the curse is found, far as the curse is found, far as the curse is found. Here is the word of truth and grace. And wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love. Thank you. You can be seated. And at this time, I'm going to invite the mayor of the town of Conception Bay South, Mayor Darren Bent, if you would come and bring greetings today. Always great to have you, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Major, and I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure and honor to be with you again this year. And when it comes to the Montreal hat in the back, Major, you started this, but just remember that. 2 years ago, you may remember, Major, I was speaking and I made mention of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I may have alluded to their decades and decades of lack of success. And of course, I didn't get invited to speak last year. MHA Pettin got to speak last year. And of course, he's been in politics a lot longer than I have, and he never mentioned the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I've learned my lesson. I will not say anything about the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, especially the years and years and years it's been since they've won. And anyway, it is an absolute delight to be here this evening with all of you and those of you tuning in from wherever you may be. I want to thank the Majors and the Salvation Army for hosting this fantastic event here this evening and, of course, over the years. And thank you to Bernie and Louise for allowing myself and all of us to be part of this fantastic event here in our community and for creating it for us. It's this toy drive. It's not, I'll tell you what, it's not the day after Remembrance Day when they start playing the Christmas music on the radio, and it's not Black Friday. It is this event here tonight for me that kicks off the Christmas season and gets the spirit going for the rest of the holiday season. It is absolutely tremendous. I want to take a moment now to recognize some of my colleagues in the political world that are with us this evening. From the town of Conception Bay South, Councillor Josh Barrett is with us this evening. Thank you, Josh, for being here. And of course, MHA Barry Petton, Conception Bay South, always with us. Thank you, Barry. MHA Paul Dinn from Topsail Paradise is with us as well. And Harbour Main MHA, Helen Conway Ottenheimer, thank you for coming. MP McDonald, it's great to have you here. And a tremendous pleasure, Premier, for you to join us here this evening. And I think by the end of the evening, you'll understand that what a tremendous event this is for our community, from one end to the other, for being able to come together in such a wonderful way of giving and remembering. And it's just a tremendous event. So thank you all for being here. We've had a wonderful year here in Conception Bay South. We have, from the beginning right through and even just recently, celebrating our 50th anniversary here in the town with so many community events, bringing people together to celebrate our community and all that it has to offer. But you know, also, 2023 has been a year of challenges for many families. And as we celebrate this year, we also have to remember that not everyone is as fortunate. And, you know, when you see this event, it gives us an opportunity to give back and give something back to help those in need. And particularly this year, I have noticed in our community alone, and I'm sure it's true throughout communities throughout the province, there are more food drives. There are more toy events. And that shows that people get it, that there are so many people in need, and they're giving so much to help where they can, and every little bit matters. And of course, this shows here in Conception Bay South, and I say it time and time again, we have such a caring community that reaches out and helps our fellow residents. And like this, the annual Riley Mercer Toy Drive, the community support we see annually here is tremendous. So thank you for that. There's other anniversary I'm just going to make reference to, and I do this from time to time, Major, of course you know. It was 180 years ago this year that Charles Dickens penned A Christmas Carol. And it's a story that has stood the test of time because it has that message in it for all of us, that we all want to and we all can be a little better. And we all want to and we all can do a little more. And I think that it reminds us of what we can do and what we're capable of. And it's Louise and Bernie Mercer who bring us together this evening and every year and in a number of events throughout the year in the memories of their beautiful children, Riley and Alex. And I think from the Dickens story, it is true that right here, right now, the real life message is being played out for us because of Louise and Bernie and their efforts, that they show us how we can do a little more and be a little better with events like this. And I thank you for the opportunity to be able to do that. So I'm just going to wrap up by saying, on behalf of a grateful community, once again, thank you for sharing this event with us in the memories of your beautiful children. Thank you so much for allowing our community to come together to help others in their names. Thank you.
Now, I didn't think I would be, but I'm a little nervous this evening. Maybe it's because the Premier is here, I don't know. All right, first I'd like to start off. I have a couple of things I just want to get done and out of the way before we spend the rest of the night dedicating it to the memory and spirit of Alex and Riley. So, first off, I want to say that my family, most of you know, you follow me on Facebook, have had a tough year this year. We lost our mom in March, we lost our dad in April, and we lost our brother in September. So it's been quite a challenging year for us as a family. I know my family is watching up in Toronto, and my sister Doreen is here tonight. So I just want to wish Mom and Dad and my brother Clyde a Merry Christmas in heaven. This is their first Christmas in heaven, their first Christmas with Alex and Riley in a long time. So I know they're celebrating tonight. Second on my list, I know you're all wondering, how the heck did Louise get the Premier of Newfoundland here, right? What is he doing here? Well, I tell you what I done. Well, I'll tell you what I didn't do. I didn't send out no big proclamated invitational scroll for Mr. Carter to read to Premier Fury. You know what I done? I sat down at my table, I opened up Facebook, and I messaged Mr. Fury. That's how down-to-earth Mr. Fury is. And I know Premier Fury. We met Premier Fury several times over the years, and he is a great guy and a down-to-earth guy. We met Premier Fury when he was Dr. Fury. And Dr. Fury, Premier Fury, he served on the Dr. Jack Hand Legacy Foundation on the board. So that's where we met him. And our third ride for Riley, Premier Fury came to the ride and he spoke on behalf of the board. So that was our first introduction with Premier Fury. Premier Fury also came to one of our early on toy drives. It may have been the third toy drive that year. He came, he didn't know what to expect. He didn't know that this is what it was. I think he had one of his kids with him at the time. So he only managed to drop off his gift and leave again. But he did message me and say, like, it wasn't what he expected and, and commended us for the work that we were doing in our community. So I thought, well, you know what? This is the 10th year, let's go big or go home. That's my motto. So I said, well, what have I got to lose? The worst he can do is say no. So he's a friend of mine on Facebook. Not as Premier Fury. He's Andrew Fury on my Facebook. So I just happened to mention him, and I said, Premier Fury, I said, you made it to our toy drive one time, in the very beginning, like probably our third year. And I said, I would love for you to see how much it's grown and what it means to the community of CBS to have our toy drive. Well, lo and behold, here he is tonight. So I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that I can sit at my laptop at home at the dining room table and message Premier Fury, and he came out. Speaks volumes. So thank you very much. We are honored to have you here. So again, now before I go any further, I want to get the last bit of business out of the way. Mackenzie Critch is here, and she's like a superstar. So Major Premier Fury, when you hear her sing tonight and you have some government shindigs going on, Mackenzie is your lady, okay? All right, and Mackenzie, I'll be your agent, okay? Never mind your momager. All right? So, but Mackenzie is celebrating her birthday today as well. And Mackenzie has been with us now, this may be her 4th or 5th year. Yeah, and she gives up her birthday to come out and celebrate with us. And when I say she is amazing, I am not exaggerating. You will hear now. Some of you have already heard her. Some of you are going to hear her for the first time tonight. But before we start, I want Mackenzie to come up and just receive a little token of our appreciation for her participating. And maybe you can help me sing happy birthday to Mackenzie. Okay? All right. Help me out. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mackenzie. Happy birthday to you. All right, so now we are ready to move along. And you know what? I don't even feel nervous anymore. That didn't take too long. So now I'm going to get, Mackenzie is going to come up and she's going to do her first song while myself and Bern are lighting the candles. This song you will know the tune of. It's to the tune of Dancing in the Sky. But Mandy Fisher on YouTube does a lot of rewrites for a lot of beautiful songs. And I heard this song, I'm going to say 7 or 8 months ago, and I sent it to Mackenzie then. And I said, this would be a great song for the toy drive. So Mackenzie, always listens, always performs, always brings it. So I can't wait to hear her version tonight. And so while Mackenzie is singing, myself and Bern are going to light the candles.
Here I am, looking down on you from heaven. It is warm, so bright and beautiful, and the sun shines bright forever. All my tears and my pain gone away, 'cause here in heaven, oh, I miss you so, but I know we'll meet someday. So now please go and spread your wings and seize the day. I'm okay, 'cause I'm dancing in the sky. Each day I'm singing to an angel's choir. I hope that you go live your life. Never give up. Someday we will reunite. We will reunite. Yeah, the sun shines so bright here in heaven. I'm at peace, I'm happy, and I'm free. And someday we will walk these clouds together. You must go and see the world for me. 'Cause here in heaven, oh, I miss you so, but I know we'll meet someday. But now please go and spread your wings, 'cause I'm okay. Yeah, I'm dancing in the sky. Each day I'm singing to an angel's choir. I hope that you go live your life. Never give up. Someday we'll reunite, 'cause we're dancing in the sky. Each day we're singing to an angel's choir. We hope that you go live your life. Never give up. Someday we'll reunite. We'll reunite.
Now it's your opportunity to sing. I know that this might be a bit of a bittersweet event for Bernie and Louise because, you know, we think about the sadness and the memories, but the joy that comes from seeing the gifts brought forward is amazing. So we're going to invite you to stand And we're going to sing. Come on, ring those bells, light the Christmas tree. Jesus is the King, born for you and me. That is the true meaning of the season, isn't it? So let's stand as we sing it together. Come on, ring those bells, light the Christmas tree. Jesus is the King, who's born for you and me. Come on, ring those bells, everybody say, Jesus, we remember this your birthday. Everybody likes to take a holiday. Everybody likes to take a rest, spending
A tribute to Alex. Being a mother is learning about strengths you didn't know you had and dealing with fears you didn't know existed. This was certainly the case for me and my sweet Alex. While raising Alex, I found the strength I never dreamed in a million years that I could ever withstand. And when you talk about fears, there is no fear greater than a mother not being able to help her child. When Alex was diagnosed with a cancerous brain tumor, fear took over my body and has lived with me every day since. Alex was my firstborn. She was healthy. She was a healthy, beautiful baby girl, tipping the scales at just 7.2 ounces. I waited for what seemed to be an eternity for Alex to come along and make me a mom. I was just 27 at the time. I felt the timing was perfect. We were married, had our own home, and of course felt that children was the next step for us. I will never forget the day I found out I was officially pregnant, as I had suspected for several weeks that I possibly was. I was a smoker at that time, and I vowed on September 8th that if I indeed was pregnant, I would quit smoking. I stopped smoking that day until my suspicions were confirmed. On September 10th, 1992, when I found out at my doctor's office that I indeed was pregnant, I was elated. From that day on, I vowed to never smoke again, and I haven't. That is how invested I had already been for this little seed that was growing inside of me. I knew that day that I loved this baby more than life itself. Already as a mom, I was making sacrifices. Alex came along on Sunday, May 9th, Mother's Day, of all days. Of course, I also took this as a sign of just how perfectly everything was to be. We brought Alex home after just a short hospital stay. On our first night home, Alex gave us our first scare. She turned a little blue while coughing, and my husband was on the phone with 911 in a matter of seconds. The ambulance showed up, and of course, by then, everything was fine. The paramedics assured us that Alex had just not gotten all her mucus up before we left the hospital. Again, at just days old, we were totally invested into this tiny, beautiful miracle we called Alex. Alex brought so much love and joy into our home. She completely changed our lives. There was so much love and laughter at that time. I can hardly remember a bad day with Alex. Myself and Bern just recently watched some home videos that we have been barely able to do over the past 21 years since Alex has passed. But there on the computer screen was our beautiful Alex, smiling, waving, and of course singing and dancing. There was not a video of Alex at any age that she is not singing or dancing. Alex just loved life and embraced every minute with love and happiness. Before Alex started school, we would host all kinds of kid parties at our home. We had Halloween parties, Easter parties, craft parties, and the list goes on. And just about every party led to a sleepover. Her friends loved hanging out at our house, and we loved having them over. When we had just Alex, I never felt she was an only child because there was always so many children at our home. Life was great. One of my favorite memories of Alex is every time I used to pick her up early at Rainbow Daycare when she wasn't expecting me. I could actually see her eyes light up when she saw me standing there. She would run to me, and I would get the biggest hug, and then Alex would say, "What are we going to do today, Mommy?" Most times we would go and rent a movie back then. We would go home, make cookies, and snuggle up to watch our movie. In 1997, I found out I was pregnant again, this time a total surprise. We were ecstatic with the joy of a new baby, and so was Alex. She was involved in all the preparations of our new baby, and we were all so excited. I was due on May 5th, 1998, and when pregnant on Alex, I was due on May 4th. I would think to myself, what a coincidence it would be for them to have the same birthday, but figured the chances were very slim. I went into the hospital on Friday, May 8th, and they were going to induce me that night. I awoke at 1 a.m. already in labor. Bern had just left the hospital, and the nurse had to rush him to come back for the birth. Alex's birthday was Saturday, May 9th, and on her birthday, we had booked her birthday party, thinking that I would be delivered by then and back home, or at least 2 weeks late. I now knew this baby was either going to be born on Alex's birthday or Sunday, which was Mother's Day again. Our baby arrived on Alex's birthday. Of course, I also took this as a sign of just how perfectly everything was to be. Alex came out that morning to see her new little brother, and she fell in love with him right away. Alex named him Riley. From day one, Alex was an amazing sister to Riley. She was 5 at the time, but truly thought she was Riley's mommy. When Riley started toddling around, Alex always had him in her arms. I never had to look far when I couldn't hear them, for they would be both bundled up together under a blanket on the couch watching cartoons. Life was so good back then, and so easy. Alex was an amazing friend and sister, and she was quite active in all aspects of her life. She would wake up every morning and say, "Mommy, what do I have tonight?" She was involved in Sparks and then Brownies, church, singing company, CLB, dance, gymnastics, figure skating, soccer, and sewing. There was nothing Alex didn't want to try. The busier she was, the more she loved it. One thing Alex truly loved to do was dance. She had joined CLB, and they had a dance almost every Friday night. This was right up Alex's alley. One Friday night when she came home from the dance, she runs in the door and she says, Mommy, please don't be mad, but I kissed a boy tonight." She caught me off guard, and I'm thinking to myself, she's barely 8. This can't be happening. But she was so happy. I asked her about the boy, and she said, "Mommy, he's really nice. He comes from a good family, and he doesn't swear." I decided to let her have this tonight, and we will talk about it in the morning. That morning for us to have that chat never happened. For just like that, we found Alex in bed the next morning in a grand mal seizure. We had no idea how long she was in this seizure. We called an ambulance and called a babysitter to come stay with Riley. This was my worst fear come true. There was something seriously wrong with my baby girl. We were told Alex had a stroke. It was unbelievable. Our whole world was turned upside down. We could never, ever be the same again. Several months passed, and we came to find out Alex was misdiagnosed. It wasn't a stroke. Now we were told it was a cancerous brain tumor. I heard the words, I knew the severity of what was going on, but my mind and body went into complete denial as I was paralyzed with fear. But somehow I kept right on going, trying to keep life as normal as possible for my family. We went from appointment to appointment. Alex kept going to school. She was such a trooper. Alex's grade 3 teacher, Mrs. Shea, is here tonight. And Alex probably just about gave Mrs. Shea a heart attack. Every day, Mrs. Shea seen Alex come to school with her little bucket in case she got sick. But she didn't want to stay home. She wanted to be with her friends. I was only at home, so I was only 2 minutes away from school. So I always let her go to school. And thank you, Mrs. Shea, for allowing her to go to school and spend her time with the kids. Alex was never scared and never cried about her illness. I remember she wanted to shave her hair off before it started falling out, so we did. I asked her if she would like me to shave my head too, and she said, "No way, Mommy, you'd look too silly." I said, "Great." I could never allow myself to believe that we could lose Alex. It wasn't even a thought. Right up until her last breath, I expected a miracle. But all throughout her illness, even though I was in denial, I tried to prepare her for what is in store for all of us one day. I told her beautiful stories about heaven, seeing God for the first time, and meeting family and friends who had passed before us. This never scared her. She was always eager to talk about heaven. Alex was truly an amazing, beautiful child. Her 9 short years with us taught us so much about faith, strength, and unconditional love. Alex believed so strongly in God and heaven. Her faith carried her through her battle with cancer. She was not afraid. Her faith is what gave her the strength to face her illness head on. She knew, even at that young age, that God was with her every step of the way. Alex loved her life, she loved her family, and she loved each and every one of her friends. And Alex would especially love you guys. She would love you for your kindness, your compassion, and your continued support of the legacy of both her and her brother Riley. I will leave you with this quote by Shannon Alder. "Carve your name on hearts, not tombstones. A legacy is etched into the mind of others and the stories they share about you." Thank you. Now, I've invited the Major to sing a song again this year, and this is one of my favorite songs, and we heard this song daily. When Riley was in a hospital bed home in our living room, we would play this song all the time, and truly believed that one pair of hands could do it. That was all we needed, but it wasn't meant for us, but we still love the song, and we still love to hear it.
Bless you, Louise. Thank you for sharing. It was one of your favorites, and we'll see. Hopefully, I can keep it that way. I had to learn this, believe it or not. I didn't know this old song. It's an Elvis tune, by the way. Elvis sings it. And Louise didn't give me enough time to get my hair growed out and all that stuff in time, so I'll do my best. It's new to Nikki as well. We're just learning it together. And my voice is pretty raspy this evening, so bear with me. Hopefully I'll do justice to this song. And as I think about Louise and Bern and their journey, you know, it's only one thing. There's only one thing that could ever get them through such a journey. I know why this song means so much to you, because it's that one pair of hands that continues to guide you and strengthen you every day. Be encouraged. One pair of hands formed the mountains. One pair of hands formed the sea. One pair of hands made the sun and the moon, every bird, every flower, every tree. One pair of hands form the valleys, the ocean, the rivers, and the sand. Those hands are so strong, so when life goes wrong, put your faith into one pair of hands. One pair of hands healed the sick. One pair of hands raised the dead. One pair of hands calmed the raging storm, and thousands of people were fed. One pair of hands said, I love you. And those hands were nailed to a tree. Those hands are so strong, so when life goes wrong, put your faith into one pair of hands. Those hands are so strong, so when life goes wrong, put your faith into one pair of hands. Well, it's getting close to Christmas. Do you feel it? Anybody here feel it? Man, I'm feeling it. These are tiring days. But, you know, I keep hearing that it's the most wonderful time of the year. And so I keep going. And, you know, it is Christmas. Walmart. Costco, the malls, Canadian Tire, etc., are jam-packed with shoppers. The hurrying and the scurrying around seems to be the norm. City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air, there's a feeling of Christmas. The Salvation Army kettles are out. The good mayor and the MHAs and the MPs, they've been there already. Thank you, folks. Many come alongside to help us fill the kettle. The Salvation Army is playing Christmas carols. Music fills the air. Thank you, band. The lights are up. The lights are on. The tree is up and decorated. Christmas cookies are being made, and the smell of fruitcake and boiled raisin cake saturate the house. Children are getting ready and practicing hard for the church Christmas pageant. We take a nighttime stroll around the beautiful CBS Manuals River to see and admire the beautiful Christmas light display. Have you been there yet? Maybe the stockings are hung, the fireplace is lit, and our good mayor is sitting back, relaxing, watching Hallmark Christmas movies. Guilty. It's Christmas. What a season. Turkey, cranberry sauce, Santa Claus, purity syrup, Jesus in a manger. Thank you so much. You shouldn't have. And there's wrapping paper. It fits perfect. It's too small. It's too big. Pictures are being taken. It's Christmas. You get the point, don't you? There's lots going on. Soon, presents will be possessions. Wrapping paper will be bagged, and we'll end up in Robin Hood Bay somewhere. The dishes are washed. The leftover turkey awaits for hot turkey sandwiches, soup, or just plain old turkey sandwiches made by the wife who does a pretty good job. Made from her homemade bread. It's Christmas. A thought comes to mind, and there's something about this time of year that temporarily transforms everything. The world becomes a little different. The magic of Christmas hovers over humanity, reminding us of what is worth having and what we were intended to be. Life as the norm throughout the year has ceased for a brief moment in time. And we get the opportunity to look toward the star of Bethlehem. Can I point you there for just another moment? The old carol says, "Come and behold him, born the King of angels." The angels announced to the shepherds on the hillside, "Today in the town of David a Savior has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord." I want to tell you something. Everything I mentioned a few moments ago pales in comparison to this announcement and how this announcement and how this baby changed the world. The shepherds hurried off and to see this thing the angels told them about, and behold, they found Christ the Lord. That's the message of Christmas. And so those who oftentimes throughout the year don't see or are caused to recognize him, to see him, and there are moments taken to pause and reflect and remember Christ, the newborn King. People who have been accustomed to using his name in vain pause to use it in praise as they sing, "Joy to the world, the Lord has come." Or hark the herald angels sing, "Glory to the newborn King." We see in words of Matthew 1:23, which ought to change our world and ought to change our outlook on life. And it says, "And she will give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel," which means God with us. What an announcement. And that's the announcement that changed the world. And we need to recognize that though this announcement was made over 2,000 years ago, it's as relevant today as ever. God with us. Let me give you some examples. He's with Paul, the Sobeys manager, who passes me a cart full of toys and says, "I hope this helps." He's with the tired and still smiling children from a scout troop which walked a few kilometers collecting toys at the Santa Claus parade and passes them along to me and says with excitement, "Here's what we collected at the parade. I hope it helps." He's with that one who stands at the kettle and says thank you and Merry Christmas to each person that drops a donation. He's with that person who drops a donation in the kettle and says, "I wouldn't have had much for Christmas when I was a child if it weren't for the Salvation Army." We hear that often, by the way. God is with each family that may be struggling. God is with the lonely and the grieving. God is with the one who's serving overseas this year and won't be home for Christmas. God is with the prisoner who wishes things were different. God is with the one who is battling an illness, not knowing what the days ahead look like. God is with those on the street. God is with those in Tent City. God is with those who are battling addictions. God is with and has been with Louise and Bernie, our friends here, who continue to journey through grief like we could never begin to imagine. Yet their hearts are so big to always want to give back to the community which gathers us together again on this date, December the 10th, to help provide a few Christmas toys for children who would possibly be without. God is with everyone here this evening and online tuning in. He's with everyone who brought a gift here today, and He'll be with everyone who receives one. God is with you. God is with me. God is with us. Jesus came to be Emmanuel. He came to be with us. God came near. And so, as I conclude, I want to encourage you with these words. To savor the spirit of Christmas. Savor the message that rings out loud and clear today, and let it ring throughout the year. Joy to the world. The Lord has come. He's here. He came to be in your world. He came to be in my world. And may that message be a realization from January to December. Emmanuel, God with us. Merry Christmas, friends, and God bless you.
My tribute to Riley. Dr. Seuss says, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." Tonight I can smile because I had an amazing 15 years with a remarkable young man, my son Riley. Good evening, everyone. For those of you here for the first time, and for those of you watching from at home, my name is Bernie Mercer, the proud dad of our angel son, Riley Mercer. For those of you who didn't know Riley, let me tell you just a little bit about the kid Riley Mercer was and why I'm so proud to be his dad. Riley was intelligent, sensitive, funny, compassionate, faithful, and a great friend to many. Riley showed his intelligence from a very young age. At just 3 years old, he was already conquering the computer and playing his first computer game, Bob the Builder. He was very smart in school, especially math. I remember in grade 5, at the parent-teachers meeting, his teacher told us that Riley had the math problems figured out while she was writing them on the board. He was super good at gaming and was probably his greatest passion. Riley had a sensitive side, too. We couldn't raise our voice to Riley, or he would be distraught. He always strived on pleasing us, never wanting to disappoint. I think he thought that was his role after we lost his sister Alex. Riley had a quirky sense of humor. He could never finish a joke because he would crack up halfway through and leave us hanging for the punchline. His laugh was contagious. You couldn't help but laugh when you heard his laughter. Riley was the type of kid who didn't want to leave anybody out or see anybody alone. He was very compassionate. A prime example of this, when shortly after Raleigh passed, a young friend of Raleigh's was visiting us and shared a story from 10 years earlier that we had never heard before. She told us when they were in kindergarten, she would sit alone on the bus. One morning, Raleigh plopped right down beside her and says, "It looks like you might need a friend." This young lady was now 15 and telling us that Raleigh changed her outlook on school that day as she now had a friend and had confidence. We were so proud when she shared this story, as we had no idea this had happened. That was just who Raleigh was. One of my favorite stories told to us after Raleigh's passing was when in church one day, Raleigh went to the altar. He was diagnosed with cancer at that time. He told me and Louise on our way to church that he was going to do this and didn't want me and Louise to go up with him. We agreed and let him go up to make his peace with the Lord. Of course, everyone gathered around Raleigh, and his young friend, Zach Marshall, knelt down to pray with Raleigh. Before Zach could ever start, Raleigh told him, "Please don't pray for me, Zach. Pray for my parents." Raleigh was more concerned for us than he was for his own health. That was how great his faith was. Raleigh was very faithful and believed in God, heaven, and that his sister Alex was there waiting patiently for her family to arrive. Never did we imagine that Raleigh would get to see her before we did. Raleigh's faith carried him through his journey. Louise had told him so many stories about heaven when we lost Alex that he showed absolutely no fear from the day he was diagnosed until the day we lost him. One more special story I would like to share with you. One day when Raleigh laid in his hospital bed in our living room, we had a visit from Majors Lorne and Barb Pritchett. At this time, Raleigh could no longer see and could not hear. We would communicate with him by writing letters on his chest. Louise communicated to him that the Majors were here. Raleigh loved Major Lorne. And we were going to say a prayer. So Louise writes a P on Raleigh's chest, and immediately Raleigh puts his hands together and he starts praying, and he says, "Thank you, Lord, for being so good to me." It broke our hearts and filled our hearts at the same time to see him lying there blind and deaf and thanking God for how good he was to him. Raleigh was just simply amazing. There is no other words to describe him. I will finish by wishing Raleigh a Merry Christmas and telling him that I'm one day closer. Love you more, Raleigh.
I'm now going to call on Mackenzie Critch. She's going to do another vocal for us. And, of course, I picked this song out, too. Maybe one of those years I'll let Mackenzie pick a song, but I'm always listening for the perfect song, and when I find one, I just can't let it go. So this song is sang by Riley Clemens, and it's called This Side of Heaven. And I haven't heard Mackenzie sing it, but I'm very excited to hear her.
My apologies, I had to compose myself. I've been doing this now for probably 5 years. It never gets easier, but it always gets so much better, and my heart is always so full. I never knew Alex and Riley. I didn't even know Bernie and Louise until about 5 years ago. But every day I come up here, I know them. They're my friends. And I sing these songs because they tell me to. Not Bernie and Louise, Alex and Riley do. Now Louise, she goes on to Facebook and she's like, "I got this new song, can you learn it?" But I do this every year to make sure Bernie and Louise know that although they're not here with us right now, physically, he's right over there. And Alex is over there. They're here with us today, and Thank you so much for everything you do and having me back every year. I love to spend my birthday. It's the best little birthday gift to see all these gifts giving to the children that need them and honoring something that's so much bigger than myself. So this is This Side of Heaven. Promise you save me a seat somewhere up there next to Jesus. Promise you I try to be strong when you leave us. Well, you're probably keeping yours. I'm down there losing mine. I don't know this world without you will ever feel alright. This side of heaven, I'm missing you, figuring out how to make it through another day without you here, breath by breath and tear by tear. This side of heaven, my heart still aches, even though we're in a better place. It's hard sometimes to sing, is it well, when it still hurts like hell. This side of heaven. I ask God how you're doing every single time I pray. I think I'll always do it, even though I know you're okay. I wish I could hear your voice and I could hold your hand until my soul comes home and I will see you again. This side of heaven, I'm missing you, figuring out how to make it through another day without you here, breath by breath and tear by tear. This side of heaven, my heart still aches, even though I know you're in a better place. It's hard sometimes to sing, is it well, when it still hurts like hell. This side of heaven, this side of heaven. I remember you at your lowest. You would smile at me and say, God made this life worth living, even on our hardest days. You meant those words you told me, 'cause you were fighting through the pain. Oh God, I hope you give me that stubborn kind of faith. This side of heaven, I'm missing you, figuring out how to make it through another day without you here, breath by breath and tear by tear. This side of heaven, my heart still aches, even though you're in a better place. It's hard sometimes to sing, is it well, when it still hurts like hell. This side of heaven, this side of heaven, this side of heaven.
Okay, we do a little fundraiser every year to help out with our toy drive, and Amanda Hines is responsible for this fundraiser. It's photo shoots with Santa. And we have our very own Santa. I don't know if you can see him up here. We have our very own Santa Claus, and with Amanda and Santa Claus, we do an amazing job at our photo shoot. So I'm going to call on Amanda Hines now, and she will let you know what we've done this year and how we've improved over the last 7 years. This was our 7th year with our photo shoot.
Good evening, everyone. As Louise said, my name is Amanda Hines, and I do the Photos with Santa fundraiser each year in support of the toy drive. Like Louise said, this was our 7th year doing the fundraiser in support of the toy drive. And it's an absolute honor to be able to do this every year in memory of Alex and Riley. And it's amazing to see the families that come out every year. Most of them, a lot of them are from CBS, but we get families from everywhere. People come from St. John's. People make a long drive to come to this event. I have people messaging me on Facebook like a month in advance, wondering if we're doing it this year and when it's going to be, because they always plan around it. And we see a lot of the same families come out, which is also really nice, and always some new ones. I'd like to thank the volunteers who helped pull it off. Ruby Voisey, Daphne Lawler, Donna Tizard, Crystal Goss, Claudette Hillier, who helps us organize every year, Santa Claus, of course, and of course Louise and Byrne. And most of all, everybody who came out to get their photo taken. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to do this without you. It seems to be getting bigger each year. The first year we did it, there's a little office building in the front parking lot here, and that's where we held it. And I think we had maybe 50 kids show up, and we raised about $800, which was pretty good, but that was our first year. There is no way on earth we would fit the fundraiser in that house any year since then. This year, I think we had around 180 families come out, and we raised $2,530. So on behalf of myself and the volunteers and the whole community, I'd like to present the check to Sherry Banfield, who organizes the toy hampers for the community.
Now comes a very exciting part of our time together as well. And we're going to have the privilege of receiving those gifts that you brought this evening. So we're going to have the gathering. And while you bring your gifts to the front, the band will play some Christmas music for us. And feel free as they start to play to bring your gifts forward. My wife and I will join you in the front to receive them, along with whoever else wants to come along and help. Sherry and Claudette and Major Lloyd. All right.
Guys, that is just simply amazing. Thank you so, so much. I am now going to call on a lifetime friend of ours, Mr. Rick Weber. Bern and Rick go way back to Rick's squash days. He's getting old now, and he's don't get around as good as he used to. Rick has been with us. He was with us with Alex's journey. He was with us every step of the way with Riley's journey. And Rick knows pretty much everything about us. So Rick is going to do a little reflection tonight, and he's going to come up now and share a few words with you.
I was going to do a little preamble. I saw the crib there and the baby, and it just brings back some memories. So I don't speak as much anymore at these events. We're usually down in the back, and Bernie and Louise do their thing, but it's just evolved into something special. My daughter and my wife are here tonight, and basically, when you volunteer or you like to be behind the scenes, but Maria and Em have been with me every step of the way. I got a little crazy during COVID, and so this is my daughter and myself cod fishing, which she loves to do with me. And so if they could stand up for a second, because for 20 years of doing this, they're always around. So and as we were driving up, I said, Maria, are we related to Barry Pettin? She said, no, they're friends of Blair and Tilly. My son is married to a Tilly on the shore, so we're probably related to a lot of you. And all these politicians up front, what you don't see is when you go to all these events, they're always here. And I was at a party with Barry one night at Tilly's, and his phone doesn't stop. And he said, that's just the way it is. He said, that's what you do. And the amount of time and effort they put in. I saw Kim McDonald on a flight the other day. 5 o'clock in the morning, back in Fort Ottawa, trying to get there out of Newfoundland. Good luck with that, right? It's hard. The only other thing I was going to say is Andrew Fury was named. Myself and Fury go back a long, long way. I call him Fury. And anyway, he's the 3rd top-ranked premier in Canada. I also wish to mention... He's also in the top 16 orthopedic surgeons in the city as well, I might add. There's only 15, so think about that. Anyway, I'll start. Riley Mercer, I call this. At 7:30 a.m. this morning, Bernie Mercer was at the gravesite of his 2 kids, Alex and Riley. He frequently visits, and I know this because we frequently cross paths on the railbed. It has been said that time heals all wounds, and that is simply not true. The wounds remain. In time, the mind, protecting its sanity, covers them with scar tissue, and the pain lessens, but it's never gone. And I thought to myself, where does time go? So yesterday morning, a friend of mine from Shoal Cove West and I were talking about Riley after the NTV interview on Thursday. Everyone knows Riley, he said, and he's correct. You see, his co-worker and close friend is Blaine Genge from the nearby community of Brig Bay. Blaine's 3-year-old son, Denver, had cancer, but after a year of misery, 10 hours away from home, house rentals, the Janeway, sick kids in Toronto, time off work, away from a family support network, and many close calls with death, the Genges finally have a new lease on life. Denver is cancer-free. Bernie and Louise know Denver and the Genges. Me too. We helped them out on their journey physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Everyone attending here today helped us as well. That, my friends, is an example of the Riley effect, but we'll come back to that in a moment. 2 weeks ago, Bern called me, had something important to talk about. My first thought was, oh no. No, nothing bad, he said, I just need a favor. And so that's why I'm up here today. Since that meeting, it is truly crazy what has happened. As you may know, I work in the healthcare field as a sales rep for a medical equipment company. 3 days after speaking to Bernie, I was at St. Clair's in the endoscopy unit trialing some new equipment. I mentioned Riley's name. Out of nowhere, a guy comes up to me and said, hey, I know Riley. He said his wife was on the Jack Hand Legacy Foundation board. That foundation is the main benefactor of Bernie and Louise's fundraising, which is up to close to $200,000 this year. I said, I was too. 2 days later, on Friday, in the same department, I went to grab a coffee. The patient yelled out to me, hey, buddy, It was none other than Major Lorne Pritchett. He had come in for a procedure, and normally we don't go in on cases of people we know well, but Lorne asked me to come in, so I did. I can honestly say now that I have seen Major Lorne Pritchett on drugs. And fentanyl, too. While sedated for his routine exam, he intently watched his procedure on a monitor, but talked the entire time about Riley's jersey and about Bernie, Louise, and Alex. By the end of an uneventful procedure, everybody in the room knew the story. 2 days later, on Sunday past, I was driving to Grand Falls, Windsor to set up some equipment for the same types of procedures. I don't normally listen to CBC. I'm more of a K-Rock fan. But it was the only station I could get in the park. The show, I believe, was called Tapestry with Mary Hines. She was interviewing a Jewish rabbi, and his name was Harold Kushner. Kushner wrote the book, Why Bad Things Happen to Good People. I listened intently and quite simply couldn't believe what I was hearing. He said, religion is simply a community of people. And that is us here today. Kushner said, caring about others and running the risk of feeling something inside you ultimately leaves an impact on other people and brings you happiness. That, again, is why we're here today. He said, when you carry out acts of kindness, you get a wonderful feeling inside. It's if something in your body responds and said, yes, this is how I should feel. When you volunteer, though, with Bernie and Louise, it's gut-wrenching. You don't really get to see the effects as much in the toy drive or the food drive. But to me, the ride for Riley was always different. You see the bikers. They always seem to be a tougher crowd. Bernie and Louise always had a family that they had unknowingly supported speak at the event. The family would usually be chosen from a social worker at the Janeway. When the mom and dad smoked, you could hear a pin drop. I would usually be at the side of the hall because I was flipping burgers and helped clean up, and I saw more hairy-arse bikers bawling their eyes out than you can imagine. Tears coming down underneath glasses while the impacted parents were talking about their journey. I would get to spend time with the parents and the affected kids as I would stay behind during the bike ride itself. I got to hear from the benefactors of Bern and Louise's efforts firsthand. Some of those kids made it, and some of them did not. Those events over the past 10 years were the public side of Bernie and Louise and the Riley effect. Now let me give you some insight into the private side of Bernie and Louise's giving. What most folks don't realize is Bernie and Louise are resource people for families of sick kids or parents who have lost a child. You have no idea in the city or province how many families have reached out to the Mercers for help. I feel fortunate to have witnessed this on many occasions. After Bernie asked me to speak to you 2 weeks ago, they were on their way to visit distraught parents who had just lost a child. Indirectly, my goal many years ago was to bring together 3 families who had lost a child so they could support each other as they only know how they feel. Do not ever say those words to a family that has lost a child. You do not know, and you will never know how they feel. Sometimes I think about many of the people Bernie and Louise helped. Some of them were impacted immediately with the sudden loss of a child through accident or suicide. I often wondered if it was really a blessing somehow to Bernie and Louise that after Riley's diagnosis, they had a chance to say goodbye to him in the 2 years that followed. And I know that may seem morbid, but they could talk to Riley, and we all got to talk to Riley, and we wrote on his chest, and it was just a special kid. In my 5 years working in the OR and GI settings, I know what cancer is. I have physically felt them, saw them, and have been affected emotionally when cancer touches someone I know. Everyone here today has been affected by cancer to some degree. This brings me back to Riley. When Riley got sick, I pretty much knew his diagnosis, a stage 4 glioblastoma, pretty much a death sentence. A miracle was needed, but I didn't really believe in that. It was pretty much cut and dried, I thought, or was it? I wondered if Bernie and Louise truly knew what was happening. What they taught me and Riley taught me over a 2-year period was science is one thing, but faith is another. Upon hearing Riley's diagnosis 12 years ago, I was pretty much changed forever. What I witnessed was a family that never gave up hope, that never caved into science, and were willing to do anything to keep their child alive. What I remember most was a quote from Riley that I often repeat. If I die, I'll be in heaven with my sister, and if I live, I'll be on earth with my parents. I can't lose. And Riley said that. Riley's journey has taken Bernie and Louise to many places over the last 10 years, and I was so fortunate to attend a lot of these events with them. I'm just going to list off a few, and this is only a few. The food drive, the toy drive, bike rides, the CBS Food Bank, the Salvation Army, Government House, the House of Assembly, darts tournaments, children's homes, town halls, chicken outlets, the Interpretation Center, Topsail Beach, the CBS Pool and Squash Club, the Janeway, Brig Bay on the Northern Peninsula, Pictures with Santa, CBS Splash Park, Jack Hand meetings, Sick Kids in Toronto, every school in CBS, Taylor's Pumpkin Patch, Renegades hockey games, Petty Harbor. The list goes on and on. It's been a humbling honor to be with Bernie and Louise on their journey. The impact on the community is immeasurable. These days, their lives are impacted in a positive way by their friends from the Irish Loop campsite. My family likes to be alone around the bay in Kingston. We lead different lives now and don't see each other as much, but I know in my heart that we would still be there for them no matter what. These events have taught me so much. But the one thing Alex, Byrne, Riley, and Louise taught me was verbalized by Andrew Fury one time in the OR. One person can make a difference in some person's life, and that person is you. And by volunteering, it costs nothing for anybody in this world to volunteer, and everybody can make a difference in someone's life. If you give a damn, you know, what is it, a simple act this time of year? If you're in the hospital and someone's lost or doesn't know their way around, point them in the right direction. There's all kinds of random acts of kindness that I've seen over the years, and I think people could do. In ending, I thought I wrote this speech myself while bike riding the last few weeks. I ride 32K really from Topsail to Butler's Pit up in Seal Cove and back 2 or 3 times a week. It takes 2 hours, and I find that's where I can formulate my thoughts best. I love when I pass Doug Taylor's farm in Foxtrap and ride alongside the ocean. I never wear headphones. Why would you? I listen to the ocean and hear and feel the wind and the waves, both winter and summer. I feel the rain and the snow, and I see the birds and the sun and the clouds. I wrote this AM, and on my way back, I passed Riley's gravesite. It was then I realized that I didn't write this. Riley did. Pass this on to Mom and Dad on your way back, he said. All Bernie and Louise ever wanted to do was to keep their children's memory alive. After 10 years, I can safely say, mission accomplished.
Thank you very, very much, Rick. Now, I've gone and done a real silly thing. I put myself in the program to sing a song. And I'm the boss, and I done that. So I'm going to ask Mackenzie to come up and only play the piano. I don't dare want her to drown me out. So this is a song that I wrote during COVID. I write a lot of songs, but they're usually funny songs. I usually write them for somebody's birthday, making fun at them or something. And but this one I really wrote from the heart. I wrote it to sing on one of our virtual concerts. I don't know if it was for the toy drive or if it was for our food drive. But I said if I was asking everybody else to sing, the least I could do was sing as well. So I wrote this song. It's to the tune of Girl Crush, but I rewrote it, and I titled it Broken Heart. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm not a singer. Honest to God, I am not a singer. But when I wrote this, I said if we ever make it to the 10th year for the toy drive, I would love to sing it at the toy drive. So y'all got to suffer through it now, and okay? So me and Mackenzie, we practiced one night for about a half an hour. We done several runs of it, but I know Mackenzie will get me through it. So it's called Broken Heart, and it's to the tune of Girl Crush by Little Big Town. I've got a broken heart. It's really been torn apart. I don't know where to start. It's gone on so long. I've lost my boy and girl. They were both my whole world. Their smile and their beautiful eyes could light up the room. I miss them both so much. If only I could feel their touch. Their gentle arms give me a great big hug. I miss them every day. My heart constantly aches. Yeah, 'cause without them here, I feel so alone. I've got a broken heart. I've got a broken heart. I don't get no sleep. I'm in this way too deep. I cry silent tears. Been doing it for years. My heart is broken too. Living my life without you. Lord knows I've tried. You're always on my mind. I missed you both so much. If only I could feel your touch, your gentle arms giving me a great big hug. I miss you every day. My heart constantly aches. Yeah, 'cause without you here, I feel so alone. I've got a broken heart. I've got a broken heart. It's really been torn apart. I don't know where to start. It's gone on so long. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I got carried away there for a second. I would now like to call on Premier Andrew Fury to share a few words with us.
Well, thank you, and that was absolutely beautiful, very touching, very moving. I'm now nervous to speak as a result. It is a real honor and privilege to be here with you all today for such an important event for the community, for Bernie and Louise, and for everyone in Newfoundland and Labrador at this time of year. Louise was right. I was here with one of my children, I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago now. It's probably my son, I believe, and he was only small at the time. And Louise tells the story accurately. We didn't really know what we were showing up to. We came with toys and thought it was a toy drive. You can thank Rick for that, by the way. That's what Rick told me it was. Anyway, we sat at the back of the church and took everything in and walked up with our toy and listened to all the beautiful music and the tributes to Riley and Alex. And on the way home in the car, much like a night like tonight, I said to my son, I said, "What'd you think?" And he said, it was pitch black driving down the CBS highway. He said, "Dad, that was pretty sad." I said, yeah, it was. He was only 5 or so at the time. He said, "But you know what? Those kids are still with their parents today." And I thought that was very telling out of the mouth of a child. So I wanted to share that with you today. In times of such incredible tragedy and loss, we're often faced with trying to answer the question, why? And as all of you know, often, most times, an answer never comes. And in the vacuum of an answer is often filled, though, with the question of legacy. And the legacy that Alex and Riley have left is on full display here today. It's certainly recognized in the toys that are here. That's important, but that's not it. It's recognized in the collection of all of you taking time away from your family and friends to be here today. But you know what? That's not it either. Their legacy is truly in the spirit of this community and uniting the community to give back to those who need it. And that is a legacy that will live and outlive all of us collectively together. It's one you should be very, very proud of. I want to, before finishing, just say to Bernie and Louise, when I first met them, I was drawn to them, as I'm sure many of you were as well. And I couldn't really put my finger on it. Rick had told me to come to this Ride for Riley thing. I was involved in the Jack Hand Foundation, and it would be good. It would be good to meet them. It would be good to get to know them. And we became friends. But I couldn't really put my finger on what was so magnetic about them. They had gone through this incredible loss, and there was an energy to them, but that wasn't it. There was a strength to them, and that is on full display here today, but that wasn't it either. There was a sense, though, of there was a light to them. There was a sense of hope and optimism to them, despite some of the dark clouds that have come their way. And there's a beautiful lyric by Leonard Cohen, "There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." Well, Bernie and Louise, whether you know it or not, you are that light, that sense of hope for so many others in this community and around the province. And we're all eternally grateful for what you do, not just today, but as Rick pointed out, every single day. When someone calls, you answer that call. Thank you for being the light. Merry Christmas.
We've got one of everything. As the major just says, his and hers, so. Anyway, for me to get up and say the thank yous, that's perfect, because this is a little bit on the lighter side for me. So I'm going to get to concluded. So first off, I'm going to thank Claudette Hillier. Claudette has been here with us for absolutely ever. Claudette, thank you very much. Majors Chris and Claudette Pilgrim, thank you very, very much. All the Salvation Army, the tech team, Salvation Army band, thank you very, very much. You were great, perfect, thank you. The worship team, thank you very, very much. Mackenzie Critch, happy birthday. And thank you for the 2 beautiful songs. And thank you for backing up Louise. That was absolutely the very best. Major Chris for his vocal. Rick Weber for his reflection. Thank you, Rick. Amanda Hines, photography, pictures with Santa. Claude Dunn, Santa Claude, and all of his elves that were here with us that day of the picture photo. Thank you very much, Claude. Senior Blues Hockey League. I think they're after asking us back now probably about 3 times for the Chuck-a-Puck. They donate all the dollars that were collected from the Chuck-a-Puck to our toy drive. Premier Andrew Fury, thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. Thank you. Major Darren Bent, thank you for your kind words, Darren. MP Ken McDonald, MHA Barry Patton, thanks for coming out with us again. MHA Paul Din and MHA Ottenheimer, thank you very much for coming out with us. Just some donations here. CBS Dental, they give us a generous cash donation for the toy drive. Edie Sharp, in memory of Wayne, gave us another cash donation. Thank you very much, Edie. And Junior Renegades, thank you very much for your cash donation also. So, the only ones that we don't have included on this here and that I'm going to say is I want to thank each and everybody for coming out with us tonight. You know, no matter what happens, without each and every one of you people that come out and celebrate this with us tonight, this would not be able to happen. So I think you need an applause for yourself. Can you please give each other an applause, please? And I also want to thank everybody, I'm sure, that's at home tonight watching. Thank you very much. And with that, I think that's about it. I know we do have some hot dogs and we do have some cake. So if you're not in a hurry to take off or anything, just stick around and have some hot dog and share some stories, as I say, and have some cake. And thank you very, very much again, as I said, for coming out and joining us. Thank you very much.
It's been another wonderful year for my husband and I. It's year number 5 in sharing this. And every year it amazes us to see how Conception Bay South does indeed come together, no matter what the reason is for, to support what's happening to help each other. And with our toy drives, with the Salvation Army's kettle drives, it has just been amazing. I mean, the monetary dollar, we can't even put a finger on right now and over the past years that this has continued on. But whenever there is a need, those in CBS come together to meet that need. And we are very privileged to be ministering here and to have the leaders that we have. We love you. We love the support that you give to the Salvation Army and to us personally, your friends. And we just love you, and we just thank you again for coming out and sharing with us this evening. Will you stand with me as we share in prayer and as we ask God's blessing upon the food? Father, once again, we stand in awe of who you are, because we do remember what this Christmas season and each Christmas as it rolls around reminds us of. We thank you that you gave. For God so loved the world that you gave. You gave your only Son. Why? To bring us hope, to bring us joy, to bring us peace, and to bring us love. You gave us your Son to teach us how to live and how to treat each other. And we thank you for opportunities such as this, that we can come together corporately and yet individually and show how much we love each other and what kind of spirit is within your children. And so we thank you, because in this world where there is so much darkness, here we've seen that little bit of light. In this world where there is so much heartache and tragedy, here in this place tonight, through some tragedy and through some heartache, has come joy, has come light, has come hope for many. And so we thank you for what our eyes behold before us today. We thank you for each heart that has given willingly. Your word tells us that you love a cheerful giver. And we thank you for each gift that's been offered this evening. And we pray right now that for every family who is a recipient of these gifts and other means of help and aid throughout this Christmas season, we pray indeed that your presence would be felt, that your love would be felt around them, and that they would know that the people around them have listened to God and they have lived as they ought to live by loving each other and being that neighbor that you have called us to be. And so, Father, we thank you for the opportunity once again of meeting this way. We thank you for those who have provided and prepared food for us this evening, and we pray your blessing upon them and upon it as we share together. And now as we separate and we go our separate ways, we just pray that your blessing would go with us, that your spirit would go with us, and that throughout this Christmas season we would indeed remember the child of Bethlehem who was given by our Father in heaven. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen.
Let's all sing. We wish you a Merry Christmas.